What's going on, everybody? I am the Bad Duck and you are the internet. Welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about Survivor Series War Games in Chicago, Illinois. It's Survivor Series. We're at the last PLE for the year. It's very exciting to see this card unfold and kind of lead us up to Royal Rumble and then eventually into Mania season. So this is our final pit stop before we really get into that Mania type season. So let's kind of just jump right into the card, which looks to be a good one. The first match we have up is Carlito versus Santos Escobar. This comes off the heels of Crown Jewel, where Santos Escobar left Brass Knuckles for Logan Paul to use against Rey Mysterio, which eventually led to Logan Paul becoming US champion. I got that correctly in the last prediction video. Anyways, Carlito blamed Santos Escobar, saying that it was his fault, that he did it on purpose, and there's a lot of emotions going on there. And then Santos Escobar turned against the LWO and is now a heel, and now is going after Carlito. And I think that the only way they can really do this match justice, I'm not really excited for this, but the only way they can do this and it be a positive move is for Santos Escobar to beat Carlito, because you're building a heel. The heel needs to prove some dominance, prove some evil intentions, do something that gets the fans against them, but in a way where like it's not detrimental to their run. You can't have a theory going around again. You have to have a Santos Escobar who is downright despicable to most of the crowd. Like, you have to have a level here that needs to hit an all-time, because you're putting him as a legend that many people love and adore, and you're making a heel at the same time. So the only way to balance that is to have Carlito put over Santos Escobar as a heel and do it in the best way possible, which I don't really know how you do it here. I'm not a big fan of the storyline. The LWO storyline kind of fell off after Mania to me, so more after Backlash, I should clarify, because of Bad Bunny and Selena Vega's matches at Backlash. I do think Santos Escobar has to come out of this as the victor, so I'm going to say that it's him that wins this. I'm not very confident in that prediction, but I think that's the only way that WWE can go with this route. Next up, we have the Intercontinental Championship between Gunther and The Miz. And as much as I love The Miz right now and how I think he's done great, I think that he's rebuilding himself in a way to be a top mid-card, or like top of the mid-card, almost to the main event of any show he's on. It's Gunther right now. Gunther is on a magical run that is well over a year and a half now, I think, and there's no stopping him. Not now. The Miz is not the person to take down Gunther. That's simply it. There's so many other ways they can go with Gunther's character and go with this championship route until what, Mania. I can see them maybe at like the Rumble. If he wins the Rumble, he just gives the Intercontinental Championship away due to him going after Seth's belt or Roman's belt or something like that if he wins the Rumble. I don't know if he will. We'll go into that in January when we do the predictions. But The Miz is not winning here. They cannot end the reign here and now. They have to do it later, maybe even by Gunther's own volition, because of how dominant of a force he is. Moving on, we have the Women's World Championship between Rhea Ripley, Mommy, oh my god, I love her, and Zoe Stark. This one was a little bit confusing. I understand why they're going with Zoe Stark. They want to give Zoe some push a little bit and have her going against someone as dominant as Rhea Ripley, and that they can go really bad really quickly if they don't do this correctly. Rhea Ripley is super over right now. Even as a heel, she's super loved by the fans, and people love how dominant she is. And Zoe Stark is still brand new to the main roster. She hasn't even been here for a year, and if they squash her now, they kill any run that Zoe Stark will ever have. They will kill any momentum that she has ever gained since her stint in the main roster. So they have to have Rhea Ripley look a little bit weaker than she has in the past. She has around like how she looked in the Raquel Rodriguez match at Payback. That's the level of where you need to get Zoe Stark at, to build her up a little bit, to give her a little bit of momentum coming out of that. Even as a loser in the match, I believe that Zoe Stark needs to have that proper level of respect, I guess, given in a way during this match, because Rhea Ripley is not dropping this till at least Mania. There is no doubt in my mind that Rhea Ripley does not drop this until Mania, because of the fact that of how dominant she is and how the stories are unraveling right now. I mean, Liv Morgan's coming back probably around January, which I believe is still going to be the Mania match because of the long-term storybooking that Triple H does love. So I believe that Rhea Ripley comes out with this as a victor, but they do desperately need to make sure that Zoe Stark looks respectable and looks good. She has to look good in this match to maintain her slight momentum she currently has as in the main roster. Moving on, we have the Women's War Games match. Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, Becky Lynch, and Bianca Belair versus Damage Control, now with Asuka and Kairi Sane, with no Dakota Kai because of her injury. Sadly, I would love to have Dakota be here, but she's not. So we move on. This is interesting because on one side of the match you have two certified legends in Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, and then you have one who is on the cusp of hitting that legend mark in Bianca Belair. Maybe in a year or two we'll look at her in like the same vein as Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, but Bianca Belair is rising to that rank. And then you have Shotzi, who's kind of a mid-card, needs a little help, and that's why she's here. She's here to get a little bit more aid from the legends and the people around her. And then on the other side of the match, you have a certified legend, Asuka, Bayley, who is one of the Four Horsemen, who is a legend, Kairi Sane, who was in, I believe, Stardom and has built herself up over there. She was previously in WWE. She was very much loved. I love her, and she's back and she's kicking ass, and she is just the embodiment of the word aura, just the straight definition of the word. She is just aura. And then you have Io Sky, who's currently your women's world champion. I believe that's how they want to call it, or WWE women's champion. I don't know how they title those belts. They're really confusing. On both sides, you have legends kicking it off and battling it out in the women's World Games match, and this should be an extremely good match because you have so many talented women. Charlotte Flair currently is in her Mania season, but maybe this will kick off her Mania season and have a really good match. I'm very critical of Charlotte Flair. I've been very vocal about that here and on the Curb Stomp podcast. You should follow that if you haven't. But Charlotte Flair, she needs to hit that Mania type level here because of how desperately this match means to the story of Damage Control going forward. I do believe that Damage Control will win this match, and Shotzi will be probably the one to take the pin because she is the lowest ranking member, and I don't know if her eating a pin would not hurt her momentum or her growth in the WWE. So I do believe that Shotzi will probably take the pin, and I believe it might be Kairi who does the pin, and I believe this could lead to a turn on Bayley, or Bayley turning on Kairi, or whatever the story takes us inside the match, inside the cage. But I do believe this will lead to either Bayley getting kicked out or Bayley leaving Damage Control to set up a face turn and lead into the Rumble season, into Mania, to develop a story there, and change Bayley back to a babyface. Maybe not to hug her, but change her back to a babyface. I think that is the way we're going. It's been what the story has been telling since Kairi Sane has returned at Crown Jewel, is that Bayley feels very insecure about her role in Damage Control, that she feels very much like an outsider with the new group of Asuka and Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai and Io Sky all being together and all kind of having this inside joke. It feels like that when you're with a group of friends and you're the backup friend, you're the friend that everyone goes to after everyone else can't make it. So I do believe that this Damage Control is to win, but I do believe that this does lead into a face turn for Bayley. Finally on the match card is Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and the Viper, the Legend Killer, has returned, Randy motherfucking Orton, versus Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre in the men's War Game match. And this is interesting because I don't know who wins here, and I'm going to try to predict it, but I really don't know who wins here, because on one hand you have a returning Randy Orton who has some beef with Jey Uso, which could lead into them losing the match. They also have Cody Rhodes, who is a friend and longtime colleague of Randy Orton. They have a lot of respect and a lot of love for each other. Sami Zayn as well has a lot of love and respect for Jey Uso. I totally forgot about Seth Rollins. I definitely didn't read that. But Seth Rollins is also in this match. He's kind of the backup member in this match, which is kind of wild for your World Heavyweight Champion to kind of be the secondary character in this match. I think it's funny, but I think that Seth Rollins does have an interaction here that is very significant with Damian Priest, especially with that Money in the Bank briefcase still on hand. I believe that will come into a little bit of action. there's a lot of moving pieces on the babyface side of things. There's a lot of conflict there. There's a lot of alliances that aren't exactly solid. And then on the Judgment Day side, you have Judgment Day essentially, who has had a little bit of friction in the group over the last few weeks, with Damian Priest kind of on edge, and JD kind of weaseling his way into Judgment Day as a member. I don't like it. We all know this, but it is what it is. And then Drew McIntyre aligning himself but not making himself part of the Judgment Day can cause some issues if he decides to turn on Damian or Finn, or to set up another feud, or but I believe that Drew McIntyre does have a lot of beef with the babyface side, so I believe that will come in more instead of him turning on Judgment Day. I think that will have a impact more on that side than anything. And everything kind of points to the babyface side kind of falling apart mid-match due to the friction in history of all the members in the match. But I have to go with... I think I'm going to go with Judgment Day. I think that's where it goes, just because of the friction that is built into the babyface side. I do believe that Rhea will come out with Damian's briefcase and try to force Damian to cash in. I don't know if he will cash in, because God, he's had so many chances to cash in and they just don't do it. I can tell, like Fastlane, Payback, and there's a ton of places where Damian could have cashed in, but he just never did. And no more matches are on the card, but there is one more thing that we should predict, because everyone's been talking about it for the last however many months. Survivor Series is in Chicago, Illinois, which is famously known for one wrestler in particular, that being CM Punk. I'm not a big fan of CM Punk. I really do not want him to show up, and I do not believe he will show up. I believe this is a lot of teasing by WWE to kind of get people to keep an extra special eye on WWE, because CM Punk does bring a lot of eyes to the product, and I believe that they're going to use that to get more eyes on Survivor Series, to have people have the hope the CM Punk returning. But I don't believe that he is going to return in any form or faction, because a lot of the WWE does not like CM Punk. So that being said, that is all my predictions for Survivor Series. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys are predicting down below in the comments. Remember to subscribe. It's always free. There's merch in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.